Sociology in terms of important facts and figures that will be required for your upcoming mains examination preparation. So let us discuss some important topic in this series. So we will be discussing the events of the Europe which led to emergence of sociology as a subject. You see, if there was emergence of the dark ages which was present there, and after some time we realize that the monarchy was imposing its principle, its ideas over the people of Europe or entire part of the world as a dictatorship. So there was one state, and state was governed either by monarchy or by church. So people started raising their voice in order to have their rights and reforms in the system, which somehow inculcate in the ideas of Renaissance happening in Europe, in which enlightenment take place. And during the phase of enlightenment, people realize that various philosophers are coming out which are providing new ideas of democracy, new ideas of government, new ideas of taxation, and meanwhile there was a severe economic change that take place. There was rise of industrial revolution, and there was American Revolution, and there was French Revolution, which quoted the idea of modernity and scientific temperament developed among the people. Rationality started, so people started inquiry about whatever is present, whether it is history, political science, philosophy, or psychology. People started questioning everything, and during this attempt, political changes took place. French Revolution, democracy and liberties ideas occurred. Then ideas change, logical, scientific, rational ideas take place. These social changes were taken by Saint Simon Auguste Comte in terms of social science or social physics. Then later he called it as sociology. 1839, and people started discussing the middle class, the secularization, and religious inheritance, then class struggle, middle class phenomena, and so on. So these all things led to emergence of sociology as a separate discipline of research and study. Now we see some important thinker as Auguste Comte become one of the prominent sociologists, and on the basis of Darwinism he gave the concept of evolutionary sociology, and his concept is known as positivism, which use the scientific method for social world and provide the scientific inquiries, empirical reality checkup, and so on. His theories and work were abandoned during those periods. Why? Because the kings were raising the concerns that these people are making new class in the society, so they will demand their government, they will demand their own system. So these theories and work has been abandoned by the government. So Auguste Comte became one of the pioneer of sociology. He reached the sociological analysis after the Enlightenment and French Revolution. He called it as social physics, which science of study of society, and he countered the social anarchy unleashed the France after the revolution. So we saw French society was having three states: monarch, nobility, and commoners. So the positive philosophy was aimed to study these changes between this nobility and commoners getting business, become middle class, and become new rich class. So this new class has new status and roles attached to it. So therefore a new study of this class change was emerged as a positive philosophy, which was felt to counter that the consideration and the reconsideration of this new class. In the society, Comte gives the three states: theological, metaphysical, and positivist state. In theological state 1300, the supernatural powers and religions dominates. Impact of gods, magic was interpreted. These factors of religion and God were impacting the society as a whole, and it was believed that the societal existence is a product of God. Even the man, women, children, and every phenomena, rainfall, are occurring due to the existence of God. But in latter phase, in metaphysical state, he is saying that the nature was the everything about man and society. So he termed nature as more powerful force than God in the metaphysical state. Then in latter phase comes the positivistic stage, where it was realized that the science was the fundamental force, and the laws that were discovered that were impacting the man, such as the electricity or the uh, spinning jenny, wheel, these all devices which were discovered working on the laws of physics, which means that these are the scientific phenomena which are making changes in the society, leading to social change. How research and innovation occurred. Now, Enlightenment also provided the ideas of the Descartes and John Locke. So philosophers such as Descartes says that I think therefore I exist, and in this way he propounded the individualism. So there was consistent quest over individual versus social existence. So which is superior and which is powerful? Positivist thinker says that the individual is having more presence and prominence over the society. On the other hand, non-positivist and some other thinkers such as Durkheim quotes that the society is a collective force which is governing the individual through its impact, decisions, norms, regulations, laws, and institutions. So the counter enlightenment period started, and it shows that there is again ideas and theories which are drawing to sociology. So there was common sense idea which exist in any part of life or individual or any institution. But sociologists believe that not common sense but sociological idea that connects the individual to the larger reality, to the social changes and anything. So we have discussed that society comprises of social institutions and status and roles, in which there is traditional system, family, religion, education, government, and as status and roles govern the ascribed status of race, reality, age, gender, class, and so on. And there is social groups, primary groups, and secondary groups. Family members, close, and peers are a part of this grouping. These all system in totality create a society as a whole. Now, let us go to Emile Durkheim. He is one of the prominent philosophers and sociologists of all time. So he modified positivism, quoting that positivistic ideas are very prominent and society is to be studied on the basis of facts. And he quoted that facts are living objects, okay, such as incidents of suicides occur somewhere or incidents of riot has occurred. So these incidents are facts according to Emile Durkheim, which are living in nature and which are lived reality. So these are instrumental in acceptance of sociology as an academic discipline, and he establishes sociology as a discipline of study. His one of the main theory was structural functionalism. We will study in later class that how functionalism is a philosophy quoting some of the parts of society that are functional with the other individual, and each part of society, for example courts or universities, or it is parliament, or it is roadways, or it is the religion, they all are interlinked to each other, supporting to the rise of the different class, different structure, and leading to functional property of the other structure of society. So we will discuss in detail later. He also propounded the theory of division of labor, in which he is quoting that the labor is having organic solidarity and mechanical solidarity. So he keeps stratification in terms of division of labor and propounds that female has certain natural responsibility to carry out certain work, and some people are classified according to their skills, knowledge to do certain specified task. Okay, so he said that division of labor is in a organic society is different, in a traditional society is different, and in a modern society division of labor is organic, but in traditional society it is mechanical in nature. In traditional society there is more complexity, but in modern society there is less complexity. So he propounded this theory. Further, Durkheim propounded the religion as sacred and profane. So anything that is kept apart for pure and worship purpose is sacred thing, and anything that doesn't fit this criteria of keeping for the prayer or worship purpose is profane. In this way, there is big theory by Emil Durkheim. Durkheim also put forward that Comte was his predecessor. He provided the rules of sociological methods stressed on the social facts, quoting that social facts are external, constraining. It means social facts are external in nature. Some external forces attached, then that makes a social reality. For example, when suicide happens, it is the involvement of social forces that leads to the committing of suicide. Social facts are constraining in nature. It means they constrain the individual to take certain decisions. And in this way, social facts play a prominent role in decision making and social research. So in suicide, he quotes that suicide is of four types: egoistic, altruistic, fatalistic, and anomic. So when there is high social temperament, high social solidarity, that leads to altruistic suicide, in which soldiers keep on boundary of nation die. Then he comes to fatalistic suicide. People due to bad ideas, bad motivation commit suicide. Then there is anomic suicide, which is done through the anomic state of society, when there is too much constraints in the society, too much chaos is there. Egoistic society, high level of ego is there, when Santhara people in Jainas or religious people do suicide to glorify their existence, is egoistic. So Durkheim set up a sociological journal called Learning Sociologic. Remember this fact. Now Durkheim is also said to be impacting the A.R. Radcliffe Brown, who is also structuring the social structure as reality. He also gave the diffusionist theory by A.R. Radcliffe Brown. W.H.R. Rivers, whose follower was G.S. Ghure, Indologist. So he was one of the prominent pioneer sociologists, and his fieldwork was seen in the Andaman Islands. W.H.R. Rivers we will study in Indian society. So he also submitted his dissertation in 1910, got his MA. Now one of the revolutionary thinker of all time is on the screen, friends. Karl Marx, famous theory of class and class conflicts, historical materialism, alienation, Communist Manifesto, and Das Kapital. So Karl Marx establishes himself as a modern sociologist and emerged during the phase of post-industrial society. His father was a lawyer, and he came out of Hegelian dialectic. That what Hegel is saying is the new ideas are developing from dialectics in the history. So history is full of ideas. There is thesis, there is antithesis, which leads to synthesis. But Marx says that history is full of materials, and the conflict between material resources leads to rise of new society or leads to new idea. It is called as dialectical materialism. So Hegel's idealism was stressed on the mind and ideas. So Marx quoted that it is the material change in the world that is making the real change. So Marx is also approaching to the class struggle. Now Marx says that the entire world is divided between the two classes, haves and have-nots. So haves are owning and controlling the modes of production, and have-nots have little bit to say in relations of production. So haves people are controlling forces of production and relations of production, as they has control over the social system. They are controlling power, they are controlling policies, they are controlling industries. So haves are controlling the entire world and have-nots are lagging. So haves are controlling because they are united in true class consciousness. Have-nots have false class consciousness. So therefore they are not united. So there is huge gap between the poor and the rich, the upper class and the lower class. So the capitalism system, which is controlled by the haves, leading to production for the worth of profit or surplus. So which is exploitative in nature. Now it also signified that Marx is making the sociological research based on the economics. So he's saying that there is superstructure economics and there is base, and base is comprising of economic activities, production, division of labor, and the president or prime minister. The upper part, these all are infrastructure, and this is base. So entire system of the world is governed by this base, and this base is so powerful that it is containing the other superstructure by its power, policies and wealth. So therefore the poor class will remain poor unless they get class consciousness and they become revolution in a bloody revolution led to establishment of communist government. Okay, also Marx is providing that the society has been developed from primitive community. There was no division flavor, there was total distribution of wealth and resources accordingly. Then it comes to the feudal society, where there was feudal lords emerged, then society formed, and comes to Asiatic society, in which class were stratified and division of labor stratified, class division emerged. Then there is capitalist state, in which industrial production is there, surplus value is generated, high class consciousness is there, people are having tremendous production, profit and exploitation. Then it will culminate to development of class consciousness, which will lead to communist revolution, and this will lead to establishment of communism across the world. किसी एक कंट्री में नहीं, पूरे वर्ल्ड में कम्युनिज्म इस्टेब्लिश हो जाएगा, ऐसा मार्क्स कहते हैं. So Karl Marx, along with his academic collaborator Friedrich Engels, who was his best friend, made his famous theory of class and class conflicts. So class is those people who having true class consciousness. They know what is their rights, what is their wrong, and they are bourgeois. So bourgeois have true class consciousness. So the another people who don't considered to be class, who are proletariat, they are not considered to be class, are laborers, workers, peasants, will quest for their rights, their needs, and they will have conflict with the bourgeois, and that will lead to proletarianization of the class against the have-nots, and that will lead to rise of communist government across the world. The ultimate aim is to form the communist government and to form a egalitarian society. What is the egalitarian society? Equal rights, absolute equality should be there. Anyone can go in mall, can have the same access of food, and at a minimum price they can afford anything of the life, any medicines, any luxury, any opportunity. So in this way, I think you understand these thinkers. In later phase, we will discuss another important thinker, Max Weber, who has given the theory of bureaucracy. Max Weber gave the concept of Protestant ethics and spirit of capitalism. Also, he gave new social research method, ideal type, and Verstehen. So keep watching, and we will also discuss some of the questions in another class. So questions arises from Karl Marx as follow at what is theory of class and class conflict? Elaborate the process of alienation. So alienation को हम समझते हैं. So when there is absolute industrial society, people are working together. So working people somehow realize that he has been mechanized, his values are diffused, subdued, and he's lacking the humanly concept of compassion, love, care, and therefore he feels disenchanted and he becomes alienated from the main part of society. Slowly and gradually he become alienated from society. He start taking drugs or drinks or become a saint, a monk, and then he become alienated from self. He lacks his existential value, that he is a human, he can make changes, he can transform this society, he can discover something, he can create something. So he lacks this thing and he got totally alienated. This happens in the industrial class society. You see many people going to the office, they look lost, they look frustrated, they look disturbed. So this kind of questions are being asked. So I hope you understand this concept very well. Thank you and have a nice day. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat.